The following footage is certified PG. Pretty great.
Welcome back. How are we all doing? Hope you're having a fabulous time. Let's sort out the carbs in this Bandit. Last week we done the, excuse all the noise in the background, the dog's in the shed with me. Last week we done the petcock or fuel tap on the Bandit because it had buggered up, I think. It's still not leaked any fuel, so happy days. I'll show you that when we get it all back together, that it's not leaking fuel. But this week we're going to have a look at the floats. Even though I've done this God knows how many times, I thought I'd try and do a little close-up version of the floats. I want to make sure they're all in line, all in spec. I think it's 17 mil from the bottom of the carburetor, the top of the float bulb basically, to the biting point on the spring on the actual little float itself, or the little needle, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember what it's bloody called now. I'm having a brain fart. But yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to sort out the float height on these. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you a few little things as well on the floats. And I'm going to change the jets whilst we're here as well, because when I first got the bike I was on 95 jets. It was running rough. Sorted out with 98 jets. Fine for a little while, started playing up again. Went back to 95s, it's crap. So going to go back to 98s. Yeah, so let's get cracking with this. I'm going to spin you around so you can have a little look. So what we're going to do is we're going to, so when you want to measure the height, you're going to want to get your ruler, basically measure it from the bottom now up to the top of the float. It's a bit hard to do one-handed, just there. That's where you want to measure to. You're going to want to adjust these little pins just in there. Hopefully the camera will focus in. Just in now, let me get a pick. So that little tab there will help adjust the height of the float, which is this bit, and then the needle, which is this bit just in here, which I'll show you in a minute. That will adjust the height or the depth of the float in the fuel, letting fuel through, or hopefully not through when it's not meant to, if that makes sense. Right, so we're going to get cracking with these. I'll only show you on one, so we don't want to drag it out too much. But yes, I'll show you on one. Then we'll go from there and maybe try and get this back on today. Right, so what you're going to want to do, I don't know if you can see that very well. You don't want them propped up like that, because you're going to get a false reading from the vernier gauge. You want them popped up at an angle. You don't want them laying flat like that, because again you're not going to get the right reading. You need it so they're just sitting, so those little needles, grab another one, so I've got a couple of spare ones over here. What you're going to want to do, so that's going to sit in top of the chamber. That bit's going to sit in top of the chamber, but it's not going to push down on that little nib just there. So it's just giving it like no pressure whatsoever, but it's sitting nice and flat. So the whole point is when it raises, it's letting fuel, it's keeping fuel in. When it goes out like that, it's letting fuel out into the carburetor, into the engine, blah blah blah, from what I can make out. So this is a little needle which I was telling you about. You're going to want to try and get the float to just sit so it doesn't compress on that. The little bit in there will compress down into there. The more that's compressed, the more fuel it's going to let through. It's not focusing. I don't want it to focus on my bloody face. I'll see if I can sort of focus out on this, but don't know if you can see that very well. But there we go. So that's the needle bit. I'll pop that back before I bloody lose it. I'm going to pop that back on now. This is the float. Leave my goggles back on. There we go. Float, pin, spin you around. In we go. Pin through. These don't lock in place. They don't need to lock in place because you've got a bowl either side. Excuse the bloody battery charger just coming on now as well. So there we go. That is your float in place with the needle in place. So now we're going to measure up the float height. So going to want to get a ruler or vernier gauge. I like to use an electric vernier gauge so I can get an accurate reading, and that is reading at 19.82, so that's a little bit out, and that side is, so I have to give these floats a bit of a twist, 21.12. so if I give them a little bit of a twist like that, try not to break them, because remember these carbs are old carbs. That's a bit better. That's 20.3. 19.18. Another little bit of a twist. I like to give it a little nudge like that as well, just make sure it's not pushed down at all on the plunger. 19.88, 19.86, happy days. So what we're going to do, we're going to adjust this now, this little tab, hopefully you can see it just there, to get it to the right height. So we want to go to 17 mil, give or take 1 mil. Be careful of these tabs. So again, remember these carbs are older carbs. Make sure that's sitting nice in there. There we go. No pressure on that. Okay, it's gone down a little bit. .7. So I'm going to want to twist that again. So I might have to think about trying to find some new floats for this, because there seems to be a bit of a discrepancy, which isn't great. Little knock like that. 17.28. 17.28. I'll show you, just so you know. Yep, there we go. Then we're going to swap out this needle. Where's my flat screwdriver? This needle, this jet I mean. Try to fall off my seat. Wrong screwdriver. Oh. Just going to swap that out and make sure that is a 95. Even though I've got my goggles on, I can't really see it very well. Swap that out. Put the 98 back in like I originally had. Then we'll adjust those as well, but you've seen me do that before. This is a ball ache, this bike. And put the 98 in. And you're going to want to repeat this for all four, well, I will repeat this for all 4 carburetors, and I'll triple check the float heights as I go along. And that's about it. It's the same all the way across for all carburetors. Might be different in different countries, because I know some of the older Bandits, I think they had different float sizes in the middle. But this one was running all 95s when I got it. I thought I'd knock it up because it had an aftermarket exhaust. and it wasn't running right, and it seemed to work okay for a while till it decided to throw a hissy fit. So yes, I'm going to knock these out. We'll do a leak test and then we'll chuck them on. Right, so there we go. Carbs are now built up. I have done a little leak test to see if there's any leak. Yeah, I've left these overnight with the fuel on from the little bottle of hope, and it's not leaked any fuel whatsoever. So I think the carbs are now done. As said, I've done the float levels. I've gone back to 98 jets. Everything seems to be okay. Nothing too concerned, nothing leaking out as such yet. So that's all good. Happy days. Yeah. Let's get this back on the bike and see how we get on, shall we? So I've still got a new set of plugs and a brand new air filter to go on here as well. The plugs have got a CR9Es. I'd like to have got EKs because they've got the twin little electrodes on, but for some reason they're bloody expensive in the local Halfords. They're like £15 each. I don't want to be buying a set of 4 when I can get CR9Es for half the price from GSF. And GSF do have the EKs, but they're not in stock in my local GSF. So, plan is, chuck the new plugs in, gap them, chuck the new plugs in, chuck the carbs on, a new air filter on, give it a fire up and see how we get on. Depending how long that takes, might have to wait for next week. But we'll get cracking. Let's get these done and go. So it's now all back together. There's my microphone. So it's all now back together. Let's just see if it starts, shall we? I've got a funny feeling it's not going to though. I'm sure I've missed something. I've done a couple of temporary measures to try and get a couple of bungs on the carburetor, on the carburetors, because obviously now we don't have the vacuum, so that's got rid of that. Yeah. My bottle of hope. Let's give it a try. I'm sure I forgot something now. New air filter, new plugs, all gapped. Yeah. The only thing I haven't connected up is the heater plugs for that and the throttle position sensor, but that shouldn't stop it starting. Power. Let's pop the microphone now. It's going to drown out all the sounds though. Yep, choke works fine. Hopefully I just caught that on video. Hopefully I just caught that on video. That I've got the bike running. So I can't remember if I push record or not. But she's up, she's running, she's sounding a lot better than what she was. Still needs the carbs balanced again. But we'll get cracking with that and Yeah. Let's come out for a bit of fresh air. It's a bit smoky.
That's all, folks.